Hey everybody, it's Dana with HSRA. I'm sure you guys are wondering for this workshop Wednesday why you see me instead of Jana and Lori doing the interview. But I want you to know that Jana's actually taking a few days to rest. We all know that she doesn't really do that very often. So she's in Newport right now preparing for the masterminds that we've got coming up on Sunday. And she is going to spend a few days with her family. So I get to, pardon me, Jay, I get to harass you a little bit about bookkeeping. So let me introduce you. So everybody, this is Jay Mickens, and he is the owner and CEO of JSJ Consultants. He is, okay, bookkeeper does not qualify for his experience and what he does. But I know that when I talked with Ashley, and then Rhonda had mentioned, and now Mary Scally is working with you as well. Correct. So I think that's an amazing thing. That the neat thing about this is that you have over 20 years of experience in this. So that means you're really good at what you do, right?
Yes, I guess people have told us that. So okay. I'm going to just answer with yes.
Yeah, see, there you go. He can take compliments. So, because this is where, when Jana first told me about this, and it came down to bookkeeping, to be real honest, my bookkeeping at home is actually, I have a 3-ring binder, okay? And it has all of my bills listed, the amounts, and my balance, and I go on my bank account and I check my balance and I make sure everything matches. Now I can tell you how much I have in the bank, but I know that this is probably not the best way to do this.
No, not at all. Like offline when you told me that I was going to be surprised, Dana, you took me to the gutter.
You know, my mom has an Excel spreadsheet that she trained me on with a formula and everything, that every time she does anything, it goes in that formula. So today, Jay, you're going to get to talk to us about how we need to make sure. I even wrote down some definitions about, bookkeeping, that it's the recording of a company's financial transactions. Okay. Yep. That is like kindergarten simple. I know the reason I do mine on a 3-ring binder is because this is so much more involved. So you really do have to have someone who knows what they're doing. Yes?
Yes, no, that is definitely correct, Dana. We, especially with businesses, small business owners especially, because we are all trying to help grow our businesses, correct? Right. A lot of times you'll find yourself having to deal with the Excel spreadsheet, or in your case, your 3-ring
You're gonna laugh
binder.
About that all day, aren't you?
I am going to.
You don't understand. This girl I talked to today with her Excel spreadsheet, she's still using it.
Yes. So, but what happens is, right, business starts picking up, and you find yourselves trying to deal with debits and credits, trying to figure out this deposit, why this transaction needed to be coded on the balance sheet versus the P&L. Next thing you know, you spin your wheels, a few hours go by, and you could have been potentially missing out on sales.
Gotcha.
And that's kind of where we have come into play, and strategically, planning ourselves to help, the small to medium-sized businesses.
Yay. So here's the thing. Most of our Workshop Wednesday attendees, okay, some are solopreneurs and some have teams like we do at Model My Home and HSRA. So you're talking, you'll be talking to people that are doing it on their own completely, to people that have a full team, some that have been doing this for 2 years, 5 years, up to 20 years or longer. Okay. So I think it's going to be an amazing thing to see how this is going to impact all of the business owners that are going to be able to see this in the next week.
Exactly. And before we get down that road, will anybody be in the group that can help me stage my office wall? As you can see,
Yep.
I need help with that.
Yeah. So what's going to happen? We're going to have some art, and then of course,
Yeah, I need somebody to come here and help with this.
Yeah, so we can do that. I will tell Jana that I'm going to book a plane flight and we'll just come.
There it is.
Wait, you're here in Texas?
I am. I'm in Montgomery.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, I'll call Rhonda as soon as we're done. Rhonda and Ashley, and they can get in the car and bring some art over.
I love it.
Yep, we'll get taken care of that.
Okay. But to your point, we at JSJ, we basically customize our business to fit the needs of our clients,
Okay.
right? So
Mhm.
it doesn't matter if they're a sole proprietor, doesn't matter if they're new to your industry, in the staging industry, doesn't matter if they have 20 years of experience with 10 employees,
Okay.
trucks, warehouse with inventory or staging equipment. We can handle it all.
With all of it. Okay, so Jana wrote me questions. I just want everybody to see. She wrote me some questions.
Here we go.
Okay, so the first one is, Jay, would you like to discuss, tell us about yourself and your business and how you got started, and where, I personally would like to know why finance.
Okay, no, great. I like your extra in there, Dana, because now I get to go back a little bit further than what I thought. So my mother, so I grew up in Memphis, Tennessee. If I'm sure the majority of the world seen the movie The Blind Side.
Yep.
So that was the private school that I went to, was Broadcrest Christian.
Wow.
Private school is not, it's not cheap, right? So besides mom having a full-time job, she also sold Mary Kay, and she worked at the church as the financial, essentially, clerk.
Okay.
And so after church, I would just go in the office with my mom and just seeing her having to separate the tithes and the offerings and doing all that, seeing her on the calculator, I just instantly, gravitated to that, right? To where I knew I wanted to do something in the financial world. So went to college, Christian Brothers University, played basketball there, and I double majored in economics and finance. And
smart man.
Thank you.
Numbers man. That would not be me at all. I like to make things pretty.
And I see behind your head that you do a good job. I'm really jealous of your wall, by the way. But yeah, and so my college roommate, that was also a teammate of mine, mentioned that him and his dad were going to be starting an oil and gas company here in Houston, and to give them, about 5 years to build it up, and they would bring me down. And sure enough, 2010 comes. I come here. I start off as just being their bookkeeper. And I, worked my way up to being the corporate controller. At that time, we had manufacturing going on in Mexico, as well as up here in the States. And so it wasn't a dollar or a peso that went out the door that, didn't have my signature on it. And so in turn, that's when I started having to learn about the differentness of the different department heads and how business works and how you have to get all your engineers to like each other and, purchase orders, all that good stuff. So in turn, in the midst of us, going public before the oil and gas industry, hit that final crash in 2015. At that point, I just kind of looked around and, was like, well, if I was ever going to start my own thing, this will be the time to do it. So June 6th of 2016 is when JSJ started. And, we looked around and noticed that no one was really trying to service the small to medium-sized businesses. Everybody was fighting over the big fish.
Big guys.
Exactly. And Dana, what I realized really, really fast was a lot of companies need, clerical work done. They need their accounts payable, their accounts receivable being handled. They need bookkeeping, and they also need, high-level advice that only a CFO or a controller can give. However, financially, they can't afford those salaries to have somebody full time.
Most of the business owners that I know, midnight Sunday, they're going through the payroll. They're figuring things out. They're writing checks. They're getting stuff deposited, and it's a lot of work to do. People don't understand.
No, they don't. And so, but you could go talk to what I call the OGs of JSJ. Basically the first 6 clients that we ever had that just gave us an opportunity right out the gate, which your fellow colleague, Ashley Fuentes, is one of the OGs. And and just seeing their success stories, seeing these guys go from just working from their kitchen table to now seeing they have their own office space, they have employees. And what they realized was, kind of to your point, Dana, instead of spending my Sunday dealing with that, let me spend my Sunday on coming up with other ideas, other things that I can do to grow. Then when I meet with Jay, I'm going to run my ideas by him, and then he's going to help me execute that. And that's where our controller level services come in. So we essentially have created a one-stop shop to where we can handle anything that you need, and allows you to focus 100% on just generating revenue and increasing that top line.
Which is exactly what they need to do. I think one of the things that we've been saying a lot in the past 6 months, just with COVID and everything coming along, is that a lot of us don't know what we don't know. And a lot of the business owners are walking through things that they didn't know, that they didn't know. They didn't know they could do things. I've had some that I've spoken to at conferences that they didn't know they could hire anybody to help them. They didn't know that they could get a CPA or get a bookkeeper, or they had no idea. They thought it was just them. So I'm curious about some of the thoughts of the challenges and opportunities that you have seen, specifically just through this whole crisis period.
Yeah, no, and that's, good point there, because a lot of people didn't think that, or they thought, well, if I have my CPA do my taxes, then they need to do our bookkeeping. And CPAs play a very critical role. We, especially myself,
that's different.
It is different. It is different, but they play a critical role because I'm a big believer in the internal controls. And internal controls, clearly states that you should not have one person do it all. That's how the Enron situation happened, right? You had that one firm that was handling everything, right? So we like to do everything up to the actual tax return. Now, we will work with their CPA. We provide them all the financial reports, answer all their questions. Our clients are CC'd in on those emails for visibility purposes. But it's just safer for you guys if you have that separate. And then, on a selfish side, I like the CPAs bragging on our work, because people like yourself, Dana, will want to renew us and keep us around, right? So, but, honestly, and, this might sound crazy considering how 2020 has been just terrible for so many people. And, pray for those guys every day, just seeing all the unemployment and people losing everything. But for us, without us knowing about COVID coming, I felt like we did a really good job of strategically planning ourselves. And a couple of things happened. The first thing was, I was able to convince all of my clients to change over to QuickBooks Online.
There you
go. Selling them on the fact that this allows us to work remotely. We can work in the middle of the night on your account, and in turn, your bookkeeping is getting updated every day.
God knew.
Girl, he knew. So that was huge. And then honestly, the other part was me and my team, we just wanted to have a reason to give back to the community. I felt like in Harvey, I didn't do enough individually. I'll be honest, I'm a city boy. I'm not the guy that's going to go hunting and, so in turn, I tried to help doing Harvey, but I didn't know exactly how to rip up the carpet and how to do the construction work. However, in this, situation, I knew we had a good opportunity to help everyone. So we actually ran a campaign, whether you were a client or not, we were going to help you get funded. So we worked 14-hour days for 2 months straight. And that's including the weekends of just helping people get funded with PPP or the EIDL loans. I mean, we just gave back to the community, and that was our way of doing so. Once the government kind of started funding everybody, and then they started realizing that somebody needs to be fully tracking and monitoring, those same people came back to us and actually hired us to manage everything. So when it's time to deal,
that's kind of a big deal.
Yes, we.
Yeah,
I appreciate it.
Well, because you have to understand that the PPP helped save a lot of people.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, it saved a lot of people. When our association would call and check on our members, and just to listen to people that were struggling. I don't know how I'm going to pay my team, and that check shows up and they're able to pay their team. So the team is able to take care. I mean, they're able to take care of their clients, but they're able to take care of their team and their team's families. And that's a big deal to just remove that stress and that fear. you know?
Oh no,
So
you're
to be a
right.
part of that, that's huge.
Yes, and we, there was a lot of work on the front end because they wanted to have payroll reports, and a lot of
Mhm.
people were doing the Dana method of,
Oh, don't make
you know,
fun.
and
I'll be the
so
poster child.
we had to convert those Excel spreadsheets to more of a professional reports, and we had to do a little bit more digging to have the backup work to support those numbers.
Mhm.
But for our clients and for the ones that actually already had an accounting software, a little bit
Okay.
easier on their end to be able to get them funded. But it was, like I said, one of those deals where we didn't run a campaign to say you got to sign up with us, or we
Mhm.
won't help you. It was truly from our hearts of wanting to give back. And then yes, we were fortunate enough to pick up a good number of clients on the back end of that.
Well, and I think that whenever we put ourselves out there, I know there's a phrase back in the 80s or 90s, pay it forward. And really, honestly, never mind that it makes us feel better to do things, but it's like when I was on the phones working with clients for home staging here at Model My Home, I would tell them over and over again, my heart is to help you. You're going through something. This is a big change. My heart is to help. And with HSRA as education director, my heart is to help. And so hearing that that's how you and your company feel, you know what I mean? It
Yeah.
just shows that we're aligned. And it's a
Yes.
great thing because then all of these business owners around that are human beings just trying to take care of their people have got aces in their pockets, you know?
Yes.
Yeah, we need to get
Yeah.
you a hat because I'm an ace.
Oh, I like it. I'm an ace that works at JSJ. But yes, and honestly, Dana, just to kind of come back around full circle of starting JSJ,
Mhm.
really a good feeling, because that was the sole reason that, like I mentioned, the inception of JSJ was we wanted to help the small to medium sized businesses. Like that's what we
Okay.
wanted to do. That's our focus. Sure, do we have some big boys that hire, us to do just the high level consultant work and kind of
Mhm.
overseeing their current staff? Yeah, we have those. But, I get more excited when I see like Ashley, reach her
Mhm.
goals,
Yes.
she, in my opinion, is really, truly the poster child of JSJ, because like I said, I remember when she just had a storage unit and was working out of her house, and now
Yep.
she
Oh,
has a.
wait, I'm going to text her. Jay's bragging on you.
Yes, do it. Do it. No, Ashley has been great, but we align ourselves with our clients, right? And you get so intimately involved in their account to where it's like their money is my money.
Right.
And if a penny's missing, I'm up all night trying to find that penny. And
Mhm.
so in turn, Ashley already having her thoughts and her process, how she wanted to, run her staging company,
Mhm.
and me being able to take those thoughts and actually help her execute them. Like, in
Okay.
my opinion, there's no more of a rewarding feeling than seeing just that success. So, definitely happy for her, and just honored that she wanted us to be along for the ride with her.
Yep. Okay, so then here's my question. Since that's how you got started and why you got started, what financial slash accounting advice would you give others during this particular time right now? What's a number one thing? Like, obviously, I need to stop using my 3-ring binder, but what would be the advice for some of these small to medium business owners? What is the first step, second step, third step that they absolutely need to do?
Yeah, well, I would definitely focus on cash flow management.
Okay,
And
I'm
by,
writing.
yes, please do. But yeah, cash flow management is huge.
Okay.
Obviously you want to try to collect money as fast as you can.
Mm-hmm.
But then with your vendors, try to work on terms with those guys. See if you can get in at 30. See if you can set up a credit account, with some
Okay.
vendors to where they will allow you to go into the store. I know, a good number of you guys in your industry are big with the TJ Maxx cards, credit cards. Those are great. I know Dr. Ramsey says, all debt is bad. No, it's
Right.
not true. There is some good debt in this
Mhm.
world. And, I'm a big believer in that, because, you don't want money to go out faster than it comes in, if that makes sense. So I'll definitely, would advise to have a nice strong hold of that. Another thing is, know your job costing. Ashley and I essentially created the job costing, which, I don't know what my other competitors are doing for other stagers. But I would be highly shocked if someone's doing something better than what Ashley and I created. But your job costing, right? It's so critical to make sure that you're making the profit margins that you want to make. For what we've seen in your industry, 30% seems to be a good number. Anything north of that,
that's pretty standard.
Yes, so you want to guarantee that you're doing that. So tracking your job costing, cash flow management, those are the top two things that I would highly recommend, everyone to do.
Well, and I know with Model My Home, that's something that we keep in the forefront of our minds. It's like when someone calls and it's like, well, your competitor's offering this amount. We're like, we get it, but the value's here, because we know all the costs involved to be able to break even and then to make the profit. Exactly. And the whole point to be in business, because there are some stagers that we have that are members that, bless their hearts, every time I talk with them, it makes my heart ache, because they're not making any money.
Right.
At all. And that makes, they're tired and they're exhausted. And it's like, we've got to figure out a way so that they can, not only raise their pricing, but to be able to figure out what's working and what's not working. And wise counsel would be the best way to get started with that.
Yes.
No, so that's where you go. That would be me. Raise your
that would be that would be me. I'm really a modest, shy guy, Dana, if you haven't picked up on that yet. Well,
I think you have been very gracious and very kind. Let me see. Any more questions? Okay. So my last question right now is, how can the companies keep moving forward and be financially strong now? Because we talked about cash flow management. Let's say that they are working on terms. They do know their job costs. How do they keep going forward? Like some of the articles that we're writing about is about inventory. Let's get rid of the stuff that's holding up important real estate in our warehouse. Let's get it gone with a sale, take that money and reinvest it into better inventory. What are some of the other things that you would suggest moving forward to keep us financially strong?
Well, I mean, the top thing that comes to my head is that, you could hire JSJ consultants.
There we go. See? Okay, wait. Hire jsjconsultant.com.
There it is. Yes. But seriously, whether you go with us or you go with, someone else, if you get to the point to where you have all your ducks in a row and now you're ready to take that next step, but you just don't know how to, because we've seen that a lot too, where people feel like, okay, I know what I'm doing, and they go down this long rabbit hole, and then it's almost a disappointment that they had to turn back around and start over at that fork in the road. But I would highly recommend that you do bring someone in that understands business, that can kind of come in and look at your balance sheet, right? Look at your P&L statement. Just look at
what is a P&L?
Okay, your P&L is your profit and loss statement.
Okay, I see y'all. I just learned something. Oh, there's nobody in here to. I'm proud of myself.
Okay.
P&L. Okay.
Yes. So your P&L, your balance sheet, just basically seeing, once the money comes into the account, where does it go? I know that you guys are really big in your industry on the profit first method. Which I'm using for all three of the stagers that we have, and that is one of the things that I do like about it, because it does kind of help you track forward and you can kind of see things. But bringing in another person can help you make decisions of when to bring somebody on, right?
Right, exactly. And a lot of the business owners don't know that. They don't know. And they don't even know, like if you, now I know what's in my bank account, but a lot of them, they don't know. So they don't even realize that they can until they speak with someone who has wisdom.
Right, exactly. And, having someone come in to help, with, creating a break-even spreadsheet for you, right? Basically, and it lays out of, how much more revenue do you need to generate to justify this person's salary? And, that's, I'm kind of simplifying it. It has, a little bit more complexity to it. But essentially, that Excel spreadsheet, we can play the game with it, right? And we can put the salary in there of what you think the person's going to ask for, and we can kind of go down the road with that. But and then, you know, if you already have employees, you know, obviously we're not in business to come have a Black Monday or a Bloody Friday.
Ooh.
But at the end of the day, sometimes you have to look at cutting fat. You know, obviously worst case scenario is having to let people go. However, if your top 2 people could do the jobs of 4 people, then obviously it's a win-win. They get a bump up in their salary. Now you are obviously getting to save money as a company. But more of a softer approach, you know, is just kind of looking at your expenses, trying to understand, you know, how your business flows, why you're spending money on this, you know, cutting back maybe on advertising because you have different ways of doing it through other venues that don't cost any money. So, you know, it's just an array of things that, you know, we look at as it's time to pay certain things and kind of, you know, putting everything together.
Well, because when you said that, I was thinking about a lot of the business owners that I've been speaking with have talked about this particular past 6 to 8 months, I guess, really going through where the money's going because there were less jobs coming in, less profit coming in. So they were having to go through and really determine what they actually really needed. And I know, like you said, the advertising, some of the different things. I mean, it's interesting to see. I know that 15 years ago, I mean, I worked with Crate and Barrel, and when 2008 hit and the market, I mean, it was just stopping the little pre-made notepads that they would have at every counter, saved the company like almost $60,000 in a year, just a little notepad. I mean, who knew? So it's those types of things that make a difference where it's like, okay, what are the things? So did you feel like during this particular period that you had working with the clients that you did, you had to step up cutting more expenses than normal, or were the parameters in place to do that because you're supposed to do that to run a good business?
Exactly.
Okay.
Dana, and that's exactly, it was the latter of the two. I mean,
okay,
we're really big with working off of percentages.
Okay.
And, you know, we run a high complex profit and loss statement for our clients that does provide percentages, not only just from the cost of goods sold and obviously your gross profit margins, but we also provide it on everything. So when I see advertising and marketing being 10% of your income, I'm like, whoa, that's way too high. Right.
Is it? Okay. See, I wouldn't know that. Jana does, but I don't.
You know, in my opinion, now, obviously every industry is different.
Right.
You know, some people, they need to do it, but in your industry, that would be considered really, really high, in my personal opinion, because the revenue is not justifying it. Because if it was, then your advertising and marketing would be more around 5%. And that's normally, you know, the average number, or I would say the above high end of the average range between the 2 to 5%. But yes, you know, we set up structures with our clients, and, you know, we let them know we're not really concerned about the top line. We just want to make sure that you basically are in budget in every expense, every cost of goods sold, everything that you purchase, that you stay within budget. Because if those percentages are in line, then when that top line increases, then everything is going to be good. And now we're not having to scramble to try to figure out, you know, certain things here and there. So.
Well, and there are a lot of staging companies that do scramble. I can tell you a few times I've had to, you know, when I was staging and had to scramble out and end up spending more money than I planned because I have to go to a little store up the street rather than being able to order through my wholesalers. So one of the things that I thought was cool was when I was looking it up, my youngest brother's an engineer. And when I was talking to him, he said, okay, he goes, you get a really good, he goes, bookkeeper is kind of a simplified term, but he said, you get someone really good. They are a reliable measure. Their goal is to get you a reliable measure of your performance. and provide you with benchmarks for revenue and income goals. So he said the revenue that's coming in, but then your goals going forward. He said, you get somebody like that, you will treat them like gold because they're going to grow you before you even realize.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Well, your brother's very intelligent.
Okay, I'll be sure to tell him you said that.
Please let him know that. But yes, no, and he's right. You know, I'm not gonna sit up here and try to, you know, sell you or your followers, you know, a box, you know, full of fake gold.
Right.
There's a lot of people that can do bookkeeping. A lot of great bookkeepers that are out here. I do think what separates us from our competitors is kind of like what your brother alluded to.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're going to attack those bottlenecks. You know, we're going to help you with your future forecasting.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to help with your goals. You know, like ask Ashley to send a snapshot of her whiteboard of all the goals that we had and how we attack every one of those things. But you know, that is where, like I mentioned, you know, the controller level services that also come with our packages that you receive with JSJ.
Awesome. Woo! Okay, so I'm like, well, that I really want to end on that note because that was awesome. But final thoughts? Anything else you want to brag about or encourage or?
Well, you know, so one thing, and this is actually in pertaining to your industry, that I want to commend you guys on. A lot of people do not know the hard work that goes into being a home stager. I think that people have a misconception of you guys show up and you're all dolled up and, you know, your team comes in and stages his house. They have no idea that 6 hours ago you were in tights and tennis shoes and you're driving a U-Haul yourself to go unload or destage a home, take it to the warehouse and just grind it, you know, and
in 100-degree heat.
Correct. In 100-degree heat. And you guys are out there, you know, getting your hands dirty, breaking nails, all that good stuff. But, you know, I truly, truly commend you guys on, you know, just the work that you guys put into it, the thought process that goes behind the scenes. And then the other thing that I want to commend you guys on is you guys are the only industry, and trust me when I tell you this, because we probably have a client in any industry that you can think of. You guys support each other. And that's so rare to be competitors, but yet you all want to see each other succeed. And I really, really commend you guys on that for what y'all have set up.
Thank you. Well, when you think about, we call it, what do they call it? We've instead of it being, you know, competition, it's cooperation. It really is. It really is about us supporting one another. And the thing is, I mean, honestly, when you think about it, if you've got 40,000 homes in a city and you've got 3 stagers,
right,
why wouldn't you support each other? That doesn't make any sense at all. Let's be wise about it. And so, and the neat thing is the goal, the heart of it, like yours with JSJ, is to grow and to build people up. That's HSRA's heart, and that's what we shoot for. So thank you so much for the time that you spent today. It was a pleasure. And when I get done, I'm going to text Ashley and Rhonda and say, Jay needs some art in his office. Y'all need to take care of that next time you meet with him. You need to make sure he's got some art.
So Ashley's warehouse is only like 3 or 4 miles away from me. So, I mean, maybe we could put some pressure on her to come.
Right?
Use her expertise behind my head.
I know, right? We need some great pictures and be able to get that going so that every time you're in there and you're just like, yes, I'm good.
Exactly.
This is my official. Yes.
Yeah, I'll be ready for my next call with you. Hopefully I'll have it done by then.
Right. Jay, thank you so very, very much. I speak blessing over the remainder of your day.
Thank you so much.
And hopefully we will talk soon again.
Yes, thank you so much for having me on, and I truly enjoyed it. I can't wait to do it again.
Thank you.